and welcome to a very long-awaited episode of the Esports Social Club, aptly renamed to the Esports Social Distancing Club. We're observing social distancing still and making our way through. But gentlemen, it's been a long time. Obviously, we've got Ian Sniper Turner and Geordie Macaleer back in POG form, and there's been a lot of things to talk about in esports, because esports is the hot topic on everybody's lips right now in the absence of mainstream sport.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, have you been feeling the love from people who mysteriously for years have talked down the presence of esports, and now all of a sudden it's got a pivotal role in keeping people entertained?
Yeah, pretty interesting times. I mean, obviously with supercars coming in.
Correct.
They never really shit on us to begin with, though.
No, they ran their own esports E-series dedicated to purely sim races.
That was going to be through Gfinity, wasn't it? But then it wasn't.
It was.
It was originally, yeah.
Last year's series was.
So they've always been there, but it hasn't been like the AFL, where they literally just shit on the Abyss League of Legends team at that football game they went to. And then because they joined Essendon. And then now they're just like doing everything they can to get on Twitch and just keep the hype train going with some shitty Evo football game.
Yeah. Well, it's the only offering they've got.
Yeah.
In AFL. Have you noticed, Mac, the increase in interest in esports or just in gaming in general as a supplementary form of entertainment?
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I've seen a lot more articles and a lot more discussion about how esports is like at least something else to bet on for all the punters while they're at home, even if they don't necessarily care enough. But it's a good chance for them to get into it and to understand what's going on, because everyone's got too much free time. And look, other than that, people have just been having Zoom meetings, right? So
and the Aussies love a good gamble.
Yeah,
that's the one.
That's
or a bad gamble in some cases.
Everyone loves a good punt, right? But some take it too far. But let's just dive straight into discussion. Obviously, we've got a range of different. We've mentioned supercars a few times now, but there's other parties interested in supplementing, their content offering, or at least honoring, their commitment to the media deals that they've got, and trying to supplement some esports into their program. Because let's be realistic, whilst we're talking now, the restrictions on a lot of things are starting to ease. That doesn't mean by any stretch that any events are going to be
You would think we're
up.
just back to normal, to be honest, the way people are behaving, especially this weekend. They've just eased. You're allowed to go visit in pairs of 2 or whatnot.
We're in New South Wales for anyone listening, by the way. So this is the situation that is.
It's not like we've had zero
ours.
infections for the last week, like South Australia, but get out on the road. The traffic's back. Everyone's walking around doing their thing. So
I think technically I could have come over. And
you could have
recorded
technically
this.
you could have. Then
could have.
we would have had to sit so far apart, and this looks cool.
Yeah.
So
Ian likes all that space on the couch. You can't really take that away from him.
I do alpha the couch a little bit, but whatever, it is what it is.
This is probably the most vertical I've seen you on the couch. Normally horizontal.
I would not dare sit like this on the couch any other time.
It's a comfortable couch. I think for anyone that is interested, these are duck feather pillows in the couch.
Yeah, duck
with all
down.
that esports money.
Yes.
Picked it up off the back of a...
And usually it's flipped around the other way and we're watching Netflix or something.
Or Mac.
Or Twitch or Mac or anything.
Yeah.
And it just drains the life out of you. And next thing you know, it's you've missed a couple of hours. And you're stuck on the couch. You just can't get up.
That's right. But, I mean, let's just dive straight into it. Obviously, the topic on everybody's lips is what events are going to be running this year. Realistically,
during the landemic.
During the great landemic, obviously a whole heap of mainstream sporting events, as we've talked about plenty of times and everyone's talking about, they've been canned. Esports events, yes, okay, a large portion of them can run online, but there are still the marquee events that are looking pretty grim right now in that, obviously from an international perspective, they're still going ahead with things like the CSGO Major Road to Rio, but they've already said that the international for Dota
scrapped.
Is looking unlikely. It is gone.
Yep.
It is going to be pushed back to next year.
Yep.
So they've made that call early and said, It's not going to be. We don't have the capacity to run the full circuit as we want to, and that would be.
It's been Wimbledon.
Well, exactly. Correct. Yeah. It's, we can't run it to the level that we need to find the best team in the world, because we give away a lot of prize money for them to be the best team in the world. Yeah. So we're just going to push it to next year. And I don't know what that means in terms of, is there going to be 2 internationals next year or 1? But
I hope not.
But you don't know.
Maybe next year it'll just be bigger and better. But I mean, it's not like this prize money has already been raised for the TI.
That is true. They have not entered into any sort of crowdsourcing for that yet. But I mean,
which would be a bit tough to ask people to crowdsource during this time as well. So it makes sense. It all makes sense. I think we can just swallow our pride and exist another year undercover and come out to next year swinging if everyone does their bit and we get back out there in time.
I think what we should be doing in this sort of time is promoting the hell out of these events leading into next year.
Yeah.
Because obviously you've got a lot of people now turning to esports for entertainment. This is prime time to capture a whole audience of people who may have never attended an esports event.
Yeah, I wonder why there hasn't been as many online tournaments as I thought there would be.
I think the funny thing is, even though a lot of people are set up to run online tournaments, a lot of people have still needed a little bit of lead-in time. Even though lockdown restrictions and things like that have kept people indoors, it's actually slowed down some processes for people to be able to put these things in place. I mean, obviously there's still a huge amount of people in esports that are reliant on full-time work and outside income as well. And with things like that slowing down and a lot of jobs being lost, I think a lot of people have sort of maybe lost a little bit of income and therefore some motivation, and things are a little bit more difficult to try and
I think we're going to get into that global financial crisis sort of territory we were in back in 2008, if anyone was there around that time, where basically the sponsors just cut funding because they just don't have it themselves to say, like, let's drop $1 million on this, drop $1 million on that.
Well, our dollar's pretty dog shit right now, but at the same time, we're probably one of the furthest ahead countries in terms of like lowest cases of COVID at all. So we're probably going to be one of the first countries that's able to go out and be domestically free.
I don't think that's going to impact our economy in terms of like, I'm hoping we get like a head start, right? But Australia's economy is only ever going to be good as Australia's economy ever was, which was, we were always making a profit, but like, now getting ahead of everyone else when they're not making a profit, when so much of our stuff relies on exports, and our marketing budgets are shit anyway in Australia, so which are probably going to come from global anyway, like particularly with like ESL. I don't know how ESL Global is going to work in this tough time. I know ESL Australia probably on struggle street right now with local marketing budgets probably getting slashed. We have ANZ or ANZ now with like 20 grand prize money, which is pretty baller, but that's finished. We did that the other day, and it hasn't started up again straight away. Something else could be taking its place, like in the meantime, but there's nothing. So I'm just not seeing any announcements of anything, because usually we have IEM, usually we have MEO, we have whatever, and it's just like event after event after event, prize money added here, prize money there. We're just not seeing it anywhere. It's coming up
shortly though. There's the like Warcraft 3 finished on the weekend, and they have like weekly online cups where I think like there's $200 on the line for just the ODC. The open quals for the next season of ANZ are coming up shortly. I think.
Can we talk about
next weekend? I think.
Can we talk about this, Mac? We're good to talk about this?
Good to talk about what?
And is it NDA?
No, the open quals. The fucking teams know that they're playing the open quals.
Cool. It's in the calendar.
Don't know about the open quals.
If it's in the calendar, we can talk about it.
Hey, fuck the calendar. No one uses the calendar. They only use it for their own purposes.
Well, there was a clash the other day. Did you see that they got a forfeit? Like one of the teams got a forfeit win for the CGP, bloody LPL Pro,
LPL
whatever it was.
Pro Grand Finals.
That is a really interesting topic. Now we're pivoting a little bit from this, but the topic of events and what's going ahead.
Do what you got to do, Jim.
How on earth, in this day and age, are we forfeiting grand final?
Well, we finished each other's sentences.
Of an online grand final.
Exactly.
That could have been moved, and they're like, no, well, people have been arranged for this, and it's like,
Avant wasn't in it, was it? Avant
admins
don't play LPL.
Bruh. It's the biggest cop out. It was the biggest cop out, and I don't like it. And I really don't like it.
Don't get me wrong. From an event organiser's perspective, if you go down the rabbit hole and you pull the trigger and say, guys, we're organising broadcasts, because a lot of these broadcasts have been moved online from home. You know, you can't go into the studio. I know LPL moved a lot of their services out of their studio to people's work from home environments. Organising people and getting them ready for the broadcast to try and put on a professional product, that does take time. But I don't know how it got to the point where one team forfeited
on the day.
Well, they didn't forfeit. The DreamHack quals came up, and they didn't give a huge amount of lead up. Like, you know how DreamHack sometimes they just have quals on.
DreamHack
DreamHack quals came up, which I casted, and I only found out about like a couple of days before. And then the teams apparently only found out about it a couple of days before, other than the teams that had already been invited to it, because there was, I think, Order and Renegades were just given invites, and then it was a closed qual, and then the closed qual had Ground Zero and Avant invited to it. No, Ground Zero and Avant.
So there had been some level of planning with
towards the top teams.
Yeah,
towards the top teams, people that they'd heard about it, but then the other teams hadn't heard about the open qual for whatever reason. And that included the two teams that were supposed to be in the LPL Pro final. And then they were like, oh, shit, well, we want to make it a DreamHack. So we're going to play the open qual. And then both teams had agreed to reschedule the grand final. But LPL was like, no, can't do it. Like, and they didn't give the right amount of notice or something. But they told them as soon as they like found out. So yeah.
My understanding is that there's a calendar for this.
Yeah.
There's a calendar for these reasons.
Leads me to my point of there's a calendar.
So how are we at a point where DreamHack qualifiers just pop up on not LPL's radar? It's because I would imagine LPL use that calendar because they do.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not they check it, another question. But I know all their events were listed in.
Whose responsibility is it here, though? I mean, is it LPL's responsibility to cop the L and say, look, it's a DreamHack qual? It's an international spot.
Well, I remember hearing...
To be honest, I think it's everybody's responsibility to cop the L.
Yeah.
I heard a while ago, though, that LPL got sent the calendar saying, oh, hey, here's the calendar. This is what you should be working off. And they're like, oh, we're just going to run our own thing. Thanks anyway. And that was their response to getting sent the calendar. So I don't know if they use it now or not, but...
Well,
look,
what happened with that forfeit anyway? Just the other team won?
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think it was played out. I don't think it was. You know, I don't think the team that forfeited got a chance for a mulligan.
I don't like to throw these out there often, but that's a yikes from me, dog.
That's it. An official Ian Sniper Turner yikes.
That's a yikes from me, dog.
But how the hell do we get to this point where there's a calendar and
in a landemic
and people are not using it, or alternatively they're using it and disregarding it? Because I would have thought for this to work, it's everybody's responsibility to work together, to keep it updated, to not have their own secret calendars that they work on, and then update at the last minute, or just not update at all, because it seems as though that's what LPL might have been doing, working off their own calendar. Where did these DreamHack qualifiers come up? Now, I know for a fact that ESL have a global calendar that they work off. We know, at a ANZ level, we don't have any visibility on that global calendar until it's relevant to anyone in this region. Even less so when the ANZ guys update the local calendar on that. So there is a delay in dates being filtered to people.
Right.
So
which can allow for a clash. But
I mean, when we're getting to a point where people can't budge on their schedules anyway, because there's global, it's got to fit into the global schedule.
I'm in two minds. Obviously, global has their thing. A local territory has their thing where they have to update it in time.
So what's the point of a calendar if they're locked into what global do anyway?
Well, I mean, we as a territory are locked into what global do no matter what, because at the end of the day, most important thing for us is global. Like Australia, most important thing for us is global, whether it be international quals, majors, anything like that. So they kind of take precedent. They trump everything.
Correct. But this is where we feel the pinch. And that's, when I say we, I mean any other TO or any other team player feel the pinch of a monopoly.
Yeah.
Because DreamHack, ESL, they run off the same calendar. They've got their Pro Tour.
Yeah.
They've got their calendar
we
dates.
we don't have Flashpoint.
No, correct. And that's it. Unless there's a Wes G qualifier that pops up every so often and doesn't
That no one wants to sign up to
no one
anyway.
wants to sign up to anyway. Or other individual vendors run theirs like Zowie did, like every other vendor has done as well.
And then you get LPL in here and God knows who else.
Yeah. Look,
but at the same time, it's the monopoly. You're right. It's the monopoly. You can't do anything about it. It's out of our hands. And I'm sure if it was up to ESL Australia, they would change it.
I know.
But what I'm saying is, we got to work around it. You don't just do the mulligan.
No, correct. But don't be surprised if they cop flack for it, because if they're not willing to even budge on it, then no one's going to use it.
Right.
So I think that's the point, is that maybe LPL decided not to use it because they've been burnt before. They've had stuff go over the top of them.
Very likely. Very likely.
That's happening to other TOs as well.
I think it's bad to make a team forfeit a prestigious tournament like LPL Pro, the grand final. They've worked hard all season for it, and then you're just not going to be willing to reschedule an online match. Broadcasting commitments aside, I'm sure there's sponsor engagement commitments for the grand final as well, maybe, but they're just gonna can it, not even give it to like a third place team to come in and have a crack at the grand final, nothing like that, just can it. I think that's unfair on the players, because they're in this position where they have to choose between their careers and having something in their resume.
Yeah.
If
I think it's a case of like LPL digging their heels in and it blowing up in their face.
You're hurting the wrong people. You're hurting the players instead of hurting the other orgs. So, that's where I think the real problem is. There's no way that you can actually get back at ESL for doing that, or DreamHack for doing that.
Well, nobody wins. So that's what I'm saying. Nobody wins.
Cutting off your nose to spite your face. So.
Exactly, because one of these competitions has to give. Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah. And as we saw at the end of last year, Extremes Land and EPL ran both anyway.
And even then, ESL, they budge. They say, yeah, sure, what do you guys want? And then there's going to be a team that says, like, nah, not happy for the reschedule.
But was that the catalyst towards this current situation?
Well, towards what we have here with LPL?
Towards what we have, just in general with the calendar, knowing that, all right, when it got put to the players couldn't even decide on an outcome themselves. Therefore, that favours ESL. Therefore, ESL are going to go into every other potential clash, knowing that their product is likely to be chosen over everybody else.
Everyone's going to choose their product. But what I'm saying is, when players had an opportunity to postpone things, they're the ones ruining it for themselves as well. So they need to be mindful of that going forward. I don't know. There was talk of some sort of like player union thing happening. That I don't know if that ever eventuated.
Every other year.
Obviously, because it relies on the players to organise it, and they can't organise a piss up in a brewery. So they, it's just going to continue to happen. And until we make a martyr out of people like Avant and make sure that doesn't happen again, then, this is just going to continue to happen.
And nobody wins. That's the long and short of it. Nobody wins. Like, if there's a clash, one TO loses a team, loses a fixture, loses more teams.
A TO loses a team, a TO loses a fixture. A sponsor might then look at the whole scene as a joke. They might stop sponsoring an organisation that has a team, so then that organisation doesn't have a team. That's one less team in the scene. So there's a lot more to it than just like, we'll just forfeit this grand final, give it to the other team.
Yeah, and I mean, you talked about it before, commercial partners, if they've got segments that are sponsored within the broadcast that have to go ahead. It's like, well, where was our MVP of the grand final?
Yeah.
It didn't get played? What?
Yeah.
What is this? Like, nobody wins. I think it's safe to say, and I think, I don't know, is that why people are afraid to push the button?
On the content and everything of the actual game.
Is that why people are afraid to push the button of running their own competitions at the moment?
I couldn't answer that.
Like, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Is that because they've seen that there's a range of different factors? Obviously, they've got to try and find a space in the calendar. We know that there's a host of events coming up for CS as well.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, what is coming up, Jim? That's my question, because I'm bored. There's nothing on.
Another season.
There's supposed to be something on.
Another season of ANZ, just like that.
Apart from ANZ, what else?
DreamHack qualifiers.
DreamHack qualifiers.
3 hours notice.
When are they? 3 hours notice. Yeah.
You'll find out.
Same weekend as ANZ quals.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know if they'd go that far.
But what else is there? I mean, is there just ANZ? Is that really all there is?
There's Road to Rio.
Road to Rio, yeah.
Yes.
That's the other one. That starts next week, right, Mac?
Yeah, it starts on Wednesday.
Okay, so that one's coming up very shortly.
Not bad.
And take us through that one, Mac. Obviously, road to Rio, that's basically requalifying for the major.
Yeah, essentially. So the way that it's working now is there's an RMR system, which is essentially a point-based system, and there's going to be, I guess, staggered competitions over the next few months leading up to the next major. And instead of having the minor, it's now you play a couple of competitions domestically and you get a certain amount of points for playing in the competition. You get more if you win, obviously more, and then less if you lose, but it stays towards the total. And then whoever has the most points at the end gets that invite slot to go to the major because they will be the best team over said period of time.
So it sort of mirrors the Dota system? The old Dota system?
I don't know the Dota system.
The old Dota system was there were certain tour stops and competitions, majors and minors. Majors obviously had a high strength of field.
WCG did tour stops, but I don't know about Dota.
Well, it was a bit different because if you won a tour stop, you got an invite straight in.
This was for majors though, not for TI.
This was for TI. So there was a circuit, and essentially the major competitions were worth more points.
Yeah.
And then the minor competitions were worth less points because technically it was a weaker strength of field. And essentially you went through and you played in as many tour stops as you needed to, or you thought you needed to qualify for TI.
Okay.
So
because the concern with TI was that people would just practice once a year and come and try and win.
Correct. If you've already qualified, like the previous year's winners did,
just have a break, have a Kit Kat 3 months before.
You're already through, and you're already guaranteed money next year as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Get that easy $1 million for coming dead last.
But yeah, I think the way that it's worked out like that is it seems similar to how they were going to do the second major of the year, which was have the 2 play-in tournaments leading up to it, and they'd have like the 2 selected tournaments no matter what they were, and you get points for playing in those tournaments, and then the top 16 teams or top whatever teams in the world were then going to be invited to the major that way. Do you remember how they were talking about doing that? And then all of a sudden they can't do that now because they can't have the international tournaments as qualifiers. So it seems like they've taken a similar idea and then just brought it domestically for all the regions.
Yeah, and they've also reallocated some spots based on where the teams currently are right now and assume that they cannot travel back to their region to try and requalify.
So 100 Thieves doing pretty well in their group. I think they're coming second in their group, Mac.
I can have a look.
It depended on whether or not. It depended on if EG won or lost, and EG lost. So then I think Cloud9, 100 Thieves beat Cloud9, but I don't know who won the group. I think it might have been Cloud9 that won the group.
Honestly,
or Gen G, one of the two.
I've just been dipping in and out of matches. There's been a combination of ESL Pro League that ran into.
They're on a crap time for us. I feel like 100 Thieves had every game at 6 a.m., which has just been pretty tough, pretty brutal.
And even working from home right now, they're tough to catch. Yeah, I'm not getting up at 6 a.m. on a work from home day.
I'm not getting up at 6 a.m.
No. But
at the moment, 100 Thieves are coming second in Group A after 5 games played, 4 wins. It looks like they're tied.
Group, yeah?
They're tied with Gen G, and Gen G has a worse round difference than 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves should be sitting at the top.
I think it goes through on head-to-head. First.
Okay.
So Gen G goes through on top. And I think Cloud9, 100 Thieves are...
C9 got two Ls and 3 Ws, and 100 Thieves got 4 wins, 1 loss. So 100 Thieves are second.
They got better points.
Yeah, but so they've actually... What's happened is because Team Liquid have shit the bed, they've come through in 3rd place in their group, and that's who 100 Thieves are going to verse straight away in the bracket.
Because first automatically qualifies, 2nd and 3rd playoff for that next spot.
Oh, yeah, 6.
So, unlucky.
It says that they're 4th. Wouldn't 100 Thieves play 5th?
No, have a look at the bracket.
Wait, where's the bracket? Up here. Group B, 3rd place. Yeah. That'd be Envy.
No, it's going to be Team Liquid.
It will? Okay.
They've still got a game left
There's still a match to be played.
Yeah. Right, okay. What if they shit the bed again tonight and just...
Awesome, we verse Team Liquid, Team Envy. But, yeah. I think the... topic that we're going to circle back around to. Obviously, this is the qualifier for the ESL Rio Major. Do we think that could even go ahead? Do we feel as though teams are even going to be allowed to travel? So I think what's going to happen out of their region. It's in November, right? I think Mac was saying. Correct. So that's a long way away, and we are forecasted to be out of restrictions by October. So there's no harm
in planning and going ahead as if it's going
the
ahead.
reason why there's no harm is because of this system that they've got in place. It's a point system, tour stops. You just keep adding tour stops until we're able to say, yep, we've locked in a venue, locked in a time. Whether or not it stays in Rio, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you'd want to do going there anyway. So, yeah, look, to me, I just think just keep doing tour stops until the points are just going to keep adding up. Sure, a couple of guys might stretch ahead, but
even then, like it might also have some teams, that peak might flatten out a little bit.
Go on the Fnatic route.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what happens. Like Australis aren't even, competitive in some of these games.
Yeah, that's true. But that's at some point, everyone's going to be out there saying online CS is different to LAN. I remember Virtus Pro struggled for years online.
They struggled in the group stage of anything.
Yeah. So
until they got to
and then they get to LAN, and then they're a whole different team. Back in the day, when they were respectable and not villains.
Yeah, there's a point where they weren't struggling.
Yeah.
But do we feel as though then, if we can circle that conversation back around to what's happening domestically, we know that the IEM in Melbourne. The question is that going to go ahead? A convention of that scale?
I mean, we can give it a bit of conjecture. But
I think personally that MEO will go ahead no matter what, because there's a bunch of domestic tournaments all on, and I'm thinking that IEM will probably just be replaced by something
a shitty local
like another CS tournament. Maybe not shitty.
It might be like a CS tournament.
Could be a good one.
I tend to agree.
could be a good one.
I mean, in comparison to IEM, I think it will be a shitty one.
Yeah, I'm tentative on the whole IEM thing as well. I think obviously from a domestic perspective, the borders will be open back up. Everybody from a domestic, and state-based level will be able to travel to MEO.
Yep.
But it's the international travel that is also going to be still quite risky.
I don't even see MEO going ahead. Like, I just don't see it going ahead. Having everyone from around Australia go into this one convention area in a time where we're just the new normal after this is not going to be the same. I don't think we'll be having events like this year. Just won't be. There's so much planning involved. You've got one less airline. We've got so much stuff going on. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened with that? Did Virgin die, like, completely?
So Virgin has gone into insolvency, I think.
Voluntary administration.
Yeah, voluntary administration. So they're like trying to get someone to buy them, basically, instead of taking the hit.
Because with voluntary administration, there's a whole heap of things that you can do.
They're not dead, though.
No, you can do a whole heap of things like a business that is dead to try and liquidate and try and get yourself back above board. But that means that they're being run by a different
group. They might sell a couple of planes. Whoop-de-doo.
Correct, they might do that.
But
I think that was them trying to strong arm the government into
local
doing
government
stuff. But
the federal government was like, no, I'm not having a bar of that. And I don't see why anyone should. But state governments will do something.
Either way, what it's done is it means that even right now, with people's
no frequent flyers.
Well, even then with people, because that hurt. Even then with people's income situations as well. Yeah. Obviously, we know that a lot of people are affected.
It'll be the shittest turnout ever if they do something. I just think.
And then obviously you've got an airline monopoly almost by Qantas, but the fact that they're still afloat technically.
Yeah.
So a lot of road trips potentially if it even goes ahead.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Just don't see it.
So. Say that is the case and whatnot. Is this what a lot of people are posturing for now? Because we haven't seen a lot of people just pull the trigger on online competitions. Do we feel as though they're posturing maybe for something later in the year that can take its place? Because right now, viewership for online competitions in general is booming.
Yeah.
Absolutely booming. So I think there's legs and there's merit in running things online. However, you need a reason for people to watch. You need either, the best teams playing, which might not be from a domestic perspective, you've got all the best teams in AU, but there's no international draw cards. So essentially you're just running something that's already happened in various different stages throughout the year. You're just running.
there's no reason why we couldn't have a top 4 ODC any week when there's nothing else on. Like, we could just go...
You could have more than that. Or are you just talking about, like, in general as a normal competition?
Just to have something for people to watch and to get rid of the ring rust and prepare our local teams domestically for the chance when they actually do get to compete internationally again. Have a proper... something on the line, top 4 teams, Chiefs, Order, Avant, Renegades, bang. Go for it, boys. Round robin.
Yeah. The challenge with that, I guess, and it's the same with any series that runs over a longer period of time, is always keeping it interesting. So, like, not going to say it's impossible, but the challenge will be keeping it interesting when they're playing each other week in, week out. You remember what it was like when you were watching all these different online leagues, where the peak of online leagues, when there was too much CS.
Yeah.
Virtus Pro were playing, NIP every other week.
Yeah.
Every other week. And even the commentary teams found it challenging to convey storylines. Obviously, you can talk about what happens within
one game.
Yeah, that one game, or what's happening within that league currently. But the gameplay, they might even be playing each other on the same maps. And this isn't just going to be a CS problem either. You're going to look at other different competitions, like basically every other...
I mean, Rocket League, you can't even change the map, so...
Correct, but at least this time around they've got, they've got some support from...
But at the moment, we've got nothing. At the moment, there's nothing going on. There's these tournaments that have huge, long leagues and long games that are just like, who cares? It's not important. It's not the grand final. ESEA, ANZ, or whatever they call it, MDL. No one cares about those games. Season games, no one cares. I think you're not going to get, unless it is the two big dogs going against each other, you're not going to get maximum viewership, right? But if you want to do something for the people, put on a proper game, a couple of proper games with the top 4 teams in Oz. And I'm sure we could scrap something together to make them want to play against each other and show their hands. But I just think, look, something has got to be organised somewhere. Someone has to do something.
Is this where we, throw cat amongst the pigeons and play with formats?
Yeah, anything. If you're talking about whether it be rush maps or anything like that, or
2v2s.
Remember,
or...
like I don't know if MDL still do it, but like set map rotations to really mess with people.
Oh god.
Like make people play their vetoes, their perma vetoes, stuff like that. Keep it interesting.
That'd be very quick content.
Yeah, well,
for some of them.
Whatever, it is what it is, right? But I think. As a spectator and as fans of AUCS and any Australian esport, doesn't seem to be much on that's of any importance, and some fun would be good.
Do you think this is a really good opportunity to do what some other sporting figures have done in this time, and take to Twitch, take to streaming? We've seen a lot of different people from a lot of different disciplines suddenly streaming on different services and connecting with their fans in a different way.
Well, I mean, like, it's endemic to us anyway. Like, Twitch is just made for gamers. So if you're in a pro team and you're not streaming, like, what are you doing?
Well, this is the time.
Have you guys seen what Spawn's doing? Like, he's bringing back the in-houses, but I think he's turned it into
just League of Legends. League of Legends Spawn or SK Spawn?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just opened up another tab and I had a Zard screaming in my ears.
Oh, that's a good thing to wake up to.
Yeah, I was like, where the hell is this man talking to me from? But it was Azad. But yeah, so Spawn's in-houses apparently has prizes now. And like, if you win enough during the night, you get, I think it was like a $200 prize pack from Puma.
Is this the one with like casters in it and everything? Or is this just players?
Yeah, casters. But I think it's like when there's something on the line, they're probably just going to keep it to the top echelon of players that just want to prac and have some pugs with the boys sort of thing. Yeah.
There's no anything. So League of Legends have got their shit sorted.
Exhibition matches. Exhibition matches with, by the sound of it, there's a lot of players that I did see those briefly. I'm not too across what exactly the format is, but my understanding is that they're also bringing in some new up-and-coming players and throwing them in the mix, and throw a rookie in and see how they go.
I don't know what you can do in terms of gathers and pugs and Counter-Strike. They don't really. That's not top quality Counter-Strike. But. And, not everyone wants to work together. If you want to keep it interesting, by all means, do something. Some draft tournaments, have our own little state of origin, anything. I don't care. Just get creative, do something. There's someone out there sitting on their hands holding some money or doing something that they could put up,
This is the time for a lot of people to be reaching new audiences and growing brands. There's a lot of viewers on Twitch.
Good time to be growing brands, 100%.
There's a lot of new viewers on Twitch, and when I say new viewers, they're coming from all different disciplines. Like I know, for example, obviously harp on about it again, but Scott McLaughlin and Scott Pye, guys, Anton Dipper, they're all real world drivers.
Proper streamers now.
And they're all streaming. They stream their IndyCar races and their supercars races. They interact. They have Q&As for an hour afterwards with fans. Just anything they want, just as any streamer would do, talk to their fans. But this is not something you typically get to do.
It's as if they didn't know about it before. And now that they know about it, they're like, this is pretty cool. This is pretty fun. I'm going to do this.
Yeah, and a lot of people now, through following them on Twitch, and they're looking for other things to watch.
So people
when
who
those
used to
guys
only
aren't.
watch racing now are watching Twitch and maybe watching some other shit like someone play World of Warcraft when normally they only have 10 viewers or something.
Yeah, they're looking at games that they're interested
Watching
in.
people do yoga and stuff on Twitch.
That can only end one way, and it's not good.
Relaxed?
Yeah, very relaxed. But I mean, in terms of what we're seeing now, we're starting to see a lot of people, as we said, turn to esports. I think, there's a lot of people starting to show whether or not they can sink or they can swim in this sort of area. And I know, previously we talked about it as well. We'd said that those guys that hadn't fully taken opportunities when things were good are going to suffer now because they were sitting on their hands, dawdling. They hadn't, necessarily done all the right things, made the connections. They were just seen to be in esports and not actually, actively doing anything. And now they're struggling for business. A lot of them, and they're blaming things like the COVID situation.
It's a handy scapegoat.
It is a handy scapegoat because you have to take it at face value, right? But it's a little convenient that the same people that were struggling
still struggling
with esports before, and there was suspicion that they were just in.
How do you struggle with esports at a time where esports should be booming? Like every news channel I've watched,
they're running something
talking about esports for the first time ever in a positive light. A current affair 2 years ago saying esports is an addiction, gaming is an addiction, it's a mentally unhealthy thing. Now they're running. More people are playing games to spend time during COVID, to be social. Okay, guys, make up your mind. So how's it really impacting business?
Correct. And
the other thing as well, like I just forgot about it until I clicked on it right now, is Twitch now has an esports section.
That's crazy.
Like there's an esports tab and it shows you all the esports that are currently going. And I think all you need to do is like let the guys at Twitch know, hey, we're going to be broadcasting, etc., etc. Can you put it up? And then they'll throw it up.
It's a checkbox for them, right? Like, it's esports.
Yeah.
It's in that category now.
Yeah,
it's going to that. So, I think this is the time where people should be shining. And if then they've been sitting on their hands a little bit too, I don't know. Maybe the ship has sailed. Maybe it hasn't. Who knows how long that things. We could be back to lockdown in a couple of weeks when people have thinking seemingly that the shackles have been cast off and they're free to do whatever the hell they wanted. I know I saw a lot of people on Twitter this weekend just out for like their regular grocery shopping or whatever. They were just shocked with the amount of people that were back in shopping centres and things like that. So, I mean, we could potentially see some harmful effects from that come through. So, this might not be us any closer toward the light of normality.
There's how everything's going. Everything's trending really well. It's definitely not the worst it could be. It's obviously not the best because some people have died. But I don't think we can relax and take it easy and just flood to IKEA again, And I'm worried about a second wave like we're seeing in some other countries. So, but at the same time, you got the Prime Minister talking about we all deserve an early mark and everything. I'd rather just cross the bridge when we get to it, when we know 100% it's gone.
Let's throw a parade. Let's throw a parade to celebrate the end of...
It's going to end up being an orgy. From everyone I'm talking about, there's going to be so many orgies after this thing. We're doomed. There's going to be some new orgy diseases or something. I don't know.
Yeah?
Yeah. Everyone's just sick of being cooped up. I'm like, bro, we're gamers. This is our life. This is normal for us.
So basically, what you're saying is in about
Orgies in the street
in
after
about
COVID.
in about 13 odd years, there's going to be a whole generation of kids called the COVID-19s.
Yeah. Well, there's that
what
kid
you-
that was called Corona getting bullied. That's unfortunate.
That is, to be honest, like, I don't know. I feel as though parents have been very creative or taken a lot of creative license with some names.
Well, that kid's like 13 years old or whatever. So.
Yeah, exactly. There was a period there about 13 years ago where people were just naming their kids
Oh, yeah. Like Apple.
Sunday roast
Yeah, Sunday roast.
and things like that.
Yeah.
How on earth are you going to set your child up for, an easier time at school?
Yeah.
When you're giving
calamari. They're out there.
calamari.
They're out there. So
Actually, that ad definitely summates the topic perfectly. It's like, think it through, people.
Mm-hmm.
Think it through. Now,
especially if you're going to have your post-COVID orgy.
yes.
All right, let's stop talking about fucking orgies. Let's talk about how
I was hoping that someone would stop me.
This is where you need Danny Kim to come back in with his latex
the
allergy.
best example of like
Suspected latex allergy.
how people can't be trusted is Bondi Beach opening, Bondi Beach closing 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Because
is-
everyone turned up with their towels and their friends and weren't obeying the laws. So police like, look, you fucked it. We got to shut the beach again, boys.
Man, there's only so much you can do, right? You try and do the right thing.
Well, they literally led them to water.
I know,
So you can only blame themselves.
And here they were drinking the salty seawater.
They're like, guys, come down to the beach. We're going to allow it to reopen. You've all been so good. Everyone goes down to the beach. Oh, fuck, too many people at the beach. Got to close it down, guys. What did you
That
think?
was a very drawn back example of what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be people that want to go surfing and swimming can go surfing and swimming, and you're not supposed to hang around on the beach too long.
It's supposed to be for
But then-
exercise.
It's for exercise.
Yeah, exercise, etc. And people turned up and all just sat there on the towels sunbathing, and it's like, well, this is fucking loitering. You're not doing the things we
Well, what
asked
if
you to
you've
do.
just been in for a dip and you want to dry off in the sun?
That's what everyone would say.
Yeah, but in your third hour.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do. That's the whole thing, the whole spirit.
No, that's not how you go.
But then you get up and you walk
a
off.
fitness
whatever.
swim.
A fitness swim, yeah. Well,
That's not what you do after a fitness swim. You don't go and lay down and bathe in the sun. You go get on with your fucking day.
I don't know. After a swim, I'm pretty puffed. So
I'm wrecked.
I'll
I have a
collapse
nap.
on the beach.
hey, who hasn't had a nap on the beach because they're exhausted from just physical activity of getting out of the
Who
house?
hasn't woken up like a lobster?
Yeah, exactly. You're still
Okay. Now, Mac,
Yeah.
it's been a while. You've had to let your mailbag overflow over the last month or so. We haven't been very active, but I think in a podcast sense, we've had a lot going on. It's exhausting. It's exhausting doing what we do. Little things.
it's exhausting.
Little things like managing relationships and all that micromanagement that goes on in our lives. We've been dealing with this pandemic too, but it is going to be time for the long-awaited Max Mailbag.
That's right, Mac, you know what time it is. It's time to reach into that mailbag. Questions that you want to know the answers to most with Mac's Mailbag.
All right, Mac. We've been waiting for this moment for a long time. Obviously, there's a lot of questions whirling around people's minds. We gave them the opportunity through Max Mailbag once again to just ask those questions, find out our take on it, and just, I don't know, mull over what we actually have to say. Now, Mac, I'll let you open the first mailbag question. What have we got?
All right. Well, this is technically the last one because it's at the bottom, but at the same time, I feel like it should be the first one from your boy Michael Carmody at MJ Carr. He's asked, "Where the fuck you been?" And I believe that's directed specifically at all of us.
I've been at home doing the right thing.
Just hashtag staying home, to be honest. That's about it.
I've been at home doing the right thing. The odd pivot here and there.
What have I done that's been bad? Have I gone outside?
Honestly, the only time that I've gone outside has been for work purposes when I head straight to a studio and I head straight back home.
All the
That's it.
groceries.
All the groceries, yep, correct. Because I like to keep my $10 delivery fee or $15 delivery fee or whatever it is now.
No, well, they weren't delivering for that time.
They won't, actually. Correct. So,
Not that we've ever used it.
no. But that's what I've been up to.
Yeah.
I think the the main reason we haven't all got together is because our schedules have been so up and down. I mean, in terms of work, you've been flat out, Ian.
Yeah.
Mac,
Sadly true.
you've been learning a new game in
I've been
Warcraft 3.
flat out in Azeroth. Azeroth is crazy. Only brought on by doing lots of Warcraft 3, and then it just tickled my pickle and got me interested back into World of Warcraft as well. So I've been indulging.
You've learnt one new game, and then you've what do they call it when you like relapsed into another game?
You've been enabled.
Yeah.
Warcraft 3 enabled you
How many years
to get back into
How many years
Warcraft.
away from Warcraft 3 did you have?
From Warcraft 3.
Oh, sorry,
I never
World
played
of Warcraft. World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. I only played it for like the first time in 2016 for like a month.
So you're like 4 years sober. And
then I played Classic when it came out last year. For the month, and then after that month, I was like, fuck, because I got a free month, and I was like, oh, I can't be bothered to sub. But now with this time, I heard that like the population went crazy because everyone's stuck at home, so everyone's playing it again. And I was like, oh, it's probably a good time to have a crack. And fucking
everyone
month later,
else,
we're here. Yep.
everyone else is having
Beautiful.
a crack as well. I think. See, I don't think he's a relapse. I don't think he's like a recovering alcoholic.
No,
I think he's that guy that got the uni card, the drink card at uni, and got to sample a few free drinks here and there, and then has gone back a little bit later on.
Yeah,
That's it.
To sample the wares. But that's basically been it. And then obviously as myself, I've been just working on various different esports projects. One of them's taking up a lot of time. So that's been where the fuck we've been.
Yeah, I've been struggling with the work from home balance, which we talked about in the last episode as well. So apart from that,
sure. Have you found success with it though? Like, are you finding it easier now that you've been working from home for a good month and a half now?
What I've found is instead of just working the 7 hours straight, it's better to just work 2 hours, have an hour break.
Do the work as it comes in.
Yeah, and then you might not finish till like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, but you do the work as it comes in. You have a bit of freedom during the day, like go down for a coffee or whatever.
Line up for a coffee
helping.
and come back.
Yeah, because the worst thing is with the whole, finishing at 5 or 5:30 is not everyone's doing that. So you finish at 5:30 after having a long day of meetings and doing whatever, and then Joe Blow messages you dead on 5:30 and says, hey, I've got this thing. Next thing you know, you're working till 7:30. You're like, well, why did I do that all day, So, yeah, it is what it is.
I think
take your breaks when you can get them.
Take your breaks when you can get them, yep.
I think too, like if you're in the space where your work is largely on a computer anyway, like, you're not necessarily on phone calls.
You don't actually have to reply to everything instantaneously.
Correct.
That's the other thing.
I found a lot of benefit in just having separate spaces, as in, it's not available for everybody, but like I literally,
we're lucky in the mansion.
We're lucky, correct. But like I've got a PC in my room. That's where I play games. If I play games, if I've got a PC out here for production and other purposes, it's got no games on it whatsoever. And that helps keep things work related and it keeps things game related and whatnot. But when I didn't have when it was all on the one machine? When it was all on the one machine, or when it was all in the one space, because I did try and at least have a laptop for work and then a PC for games, that I could at least, know that I was focusing. It was pretty clear I was focusing on the wrong thing because it was on one machine and not the other.
Well, this is pretty much my office we're in right now. Like, this is my office.
This is my office too.
My PC's just over there, and half the time I just can't be bothered getting on it after the day. So, yeah, it's just how it is.
Yeah. Well, when you've been staring at a screen all day, it's funny that you make your hobby your job.
Well, it wasn't actually.
I'm talking about
like
from my perspective.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
I've done that before with Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Made my hobby my job. And then I was working 2 jobs. And then I was like, well, this sucks. But at least it wasn't for nothing.
Woo! You got stickers.
Cricket soundboard.
Kind of was for nothing. But it was good for everyone else that followed on the legacy. So
correct. Now,
so anyway, to answer that question, we've been flattening the fucking curve, MJ. And look, I hope you have been too.
Honestly, like we said, there hasn't really been a whole lot of drama going on for us to talk about.
Yeah, that's the point that we opened with, was the fact that we've seen a lot of new activity in the space of esports, but people within esports themselves haven't exactly put on anything new or different. They've just stuck
they've
with
not
the plan.
announced anything new. I mean, there was some ANZ Twitter that said like, "Oh, time to come back." It's like, who the fuck are you?
50
like,
retweets.
Yeah, exactly. 50 retweets, and I'll run an ODC. How about that? But like, you know,
about you just do it?
At least some people announcing something would have been good. I guess one thing we didn't cover during the show was the 100 Thieves lost their star coach, who's basically, in my opinion, carried them knowledge-wise through to where they are today in the top 5.
Big blow.
Big blow for Kassad to walk out and to walk out under what he says, I think, is a disagreement with a couple philosophical disagreement
after such a long period of time too, to have a philosophical disagreement.
Yeah,
that's a strange one for me.
Yeah, that is a strange one, and I what are your immediate thoughts? Mine are that there's a lineup change he wanted, but you know, didn't come to fruition, and he's had to stand his ground. Philosophical in which way? I just don't know. Like,
was it with the team or was it with the org?
It wouldn't be with the org. He would have flat out called it out with the org, I think. Philosophical is not with the org. And the org has been amazing by all accounts from everything we hear. Philosophical, I think, would be more along the lines of how you handle certain situations. Like if you're the coach, really, it's up to you on how the thing operates. You know, how the whole machine works. The player's job is just to perform what the coach says. The IGL is to play the way the coach wants you to play so that the coach can actually provide the most amount of value. I'm sure at first I would have said, Kassad, don't come in and tell people how to play. But these guys have been with Aaron for years. Like they've all been there for years. So for a philosophical thing, it's like, well, the 100 Kriegs are dead.
Meta's changed. So now maybe he's wanting to do something else that maybe no one else is doing. Maybe it will be a step back for 2 steps forward, and no one wants that. So who knows? But, you know, you look at the 100 Thieves and how they've been progressing. They've been doing really well. I think they had a bit of a rough patch like a couple of weeks ago where they just lost a couple of games in a row. A few online games, yeah.
A few online games, and online's always going to be really tough. They're considered an NA team at the moment because they're stuck in NA. So, but they've been beating... The thing is, like, this is how it always works, where Renegades or 100 Thieves, they time their run, and it's just sad that their run is never when everyone else's run is on.
Yeah.
It's not like Team Liquid are at their best and they've just won the IEM Grand Slam, and now, you know, 100 Thieves are right there neck and neck with them. Instead, it's Team Liquid are absolutely atrocious at the moment compared to their old level. Same with Australis, like you were saying. You know, then you have EG, who are just falling off the wagon, and they were like looking to be a real powerhouse at one point. That's a shit time for 100 Thieves to be standing up and being like, oh, we're really good. But obviously nothing they can do about that. That's just the way it is.
That's just everybody else dipping off
in a time where
they're just picking up a little.
Everything should be getting way better. But obviously I think people are a bit over Counter-Strike, the pro players. They've been playing Counter-Strike so much, maybe.
I've heard a lot of them been playing other games as well, like Valorant.
And so therefore they're going to go across to things like Valorant. They're going to be playing World of Warcraft, as you know, that's the vice of the killer of Counter-Strike.
The old enemy.
Yeah. So idle hands. So yeah, I'm seeing that in the online seasons, because a lot of these teams, like the Team Liquids, the EGs, they really can take it for granted, and at the last leg, if it looks bad, they can just start winning again, because they're that good. Yeah. Compared to the other teams, particularly in North America anyway.
The thing is too, like, as a pro team or an athlete, you always want to try and time your run, your peak performance for when you're entering into the crunch time of a particular competition. And with such irregularity in what's actually going ahead right now, it's really hard to do that.
Yeah, but like you've got Valorant there as well. People are distracted by that, you know. But
if there's no clear objective and a timeline for that,
road to Rio. But Team Liquid nearly copying it out of the groups.
You said they could throw in more competitions and just extend it.
Oh yeah, I do think that. But at the same time,
but if that's what the team's thinking as well, it's like, well, it's not guaranteed that the Rio major is going ahead in November.
Oh no, but it's the road to Rio. Yeah. So it's like the points. It's just a point system, and they're going.
But they get prizes as well. So there's something to play for other than just the points.
They probably really don't care that much about the prizes because they're all being paid so well. So the thing is, though, is that what is going to be important is these points. And if they all are under the idea that things are going to keep going like this for quite some time, there's an opportunity for more points to be acquired. But it's always very difficult to play your best Counter-Strike when there's no pressure on the line. And I feel like that's what's happening with these big powerhouse teams that are just losing these strange matches to, Gen G or Cloud9 or whoever. I don't know how Europe's been faring because, that's always been a bit of a cluster anyway because, like, this team beats this team beats that team, blah, blah, blah. We got heretics in there winning games. One day Vitality's good, the next they're not. So, yeah, it's just like Counter-Strike should be hitting its peaks in terms of now is when things should be developing. These tournaments don't matter once you get into a certain period and you get enough points for just being there. Once you're all in... You're in good company, then I think that's where you're just like,
we're here.
Try something.
Yeah.
So we should be seeing the best stuff, but instead we're just kind of seeing everyone relax, take it easy.
Just treading water.
Yeah, exactly. Just treading water. So it's disappointing to see that. But back on subject, Kassad.
It's not even on subject, but it's just on the previous subject.
Super sad that he's leaving.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like he is... one of the best coaches in Counter-Strike.
If he isn't instantly snapped up, then...
he hasn't... Nothing's been announced. The guy probably wants a break, to be honest. Probably just wants a holiday for a bit. Now's not a great time.
Nah, it's like you can't go anywhere.
Can't go anywhere, but there is 3 coaches who don't have teams at the moment. There's Kassad, I'm a Pet, and one other one that I can't think of right now. But everyone's just like, what's going on? Hey, what was that, Mac?
I was going to say, honestly, it's not... I've been keeping tabs.
Yeah, EG. Like, Kassad could go to EG, and Underpet could come to 100 Thieves, straight swap.
Yeah.
But, yeah, look, I don't know if... I think Kassad could probably do better than EG. So, who knows?
True that. All right. Now, was there more questions, Mac?
Yeah, there's more questions.
Keep us moving along.
Before we get back to that, though, I just want to quickly have a chat about Valorant as well. You guys started talking about it, and everything you've said about why is it all slowing down now, etc. It's like Valorant's speeding up. There's a fucking whole, I think it's like a 3,000-ish person Discord at the moment from OC alone that is just people who are all trying to farm keys and committed enough to play on 200 ping against other players on 200 ping.
So people who suck at other esports trying to get in.
Well, they had just had their first competition, and Crunchy and Ferg and Deoxide all won that.
So all the CS
I wouldn't say they suck at other esports.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. It's also other people who their esports died.
I'm not saying
like PUBG people.
I'm not saying all the players, but the vast majority of players that are flocking to Valorant are the guys that are like, man, we can build an esports career like this.
It's more just interest. It's something new. Like, I've seen Spawn as well saying, like, everything feels so fucking stale at the moment. I want another game to play. And he was like, I don't want to play WoW, but I'm feeling like I want to play WoW.
We were supposed to have Cyberpunk.
That was supposed to have a lot of things.
That was supposed to come out in March. Yeah, I know, but it's something to do.
True.
Yeah.
No, you just.
But yeah, it's literally just because I feel like, especially for someone like Spawn, right? He's going to be stuck at home all the time now, trying to do LOL from home. And if you're just doing one thing from home all the bloody time, it's really, really draining. Like, at least he used to get flown up to Sydney every week and be around his peers and nonstop have chats and like have a good hang with the boys. Whereas like we've been drained of that in the CS scene for fucking ages now, it feels like, because we were supposed to have the lands for ANZ at least domestically, and then couldn't have those. And like, who fucking knows when the next one's going to be? Like, who fucking knows when we're even going to see the next couple of people? You know, it's all very few and far between. And to see the grassroots scene from Valorant picking up before we even have fucking servers is like a real big step. And I want to just give Dion Komodo a quick shout out for setting it up and trying to do something rather than not doing anything. So
exactly, that's what we've been saying. There's not a lot of people doing something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people doing nothing, but there's not a lot of people doing something. So
yeah,
I'll echo that sentiment.
I've seen that Valorant Discord as well. They've got the bots in there and everything. I think that's really good. Discord's pretty amazing. If anyone hates Discord in 2020, like, you got
there's some handy. Well, we're doing this off Discord at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and also I didn't realize, but yeah, that's because they gave everyone like 60 FPS 720 during COVID. So good. Yeah. But also there's I am selfishly thinking about Valorant and what potential there is for leagues and stuff like that. once it does come out. Hopefully it's not just cracked down, because I mean, with Counter-Strike, one of the biggest problems with it is you can't just do a custom match on 128 tick. Create your 128 tick custom gather. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, some people have turned that into a business opportunity, I understand. But, you look at what Spawn's doing with League of Legends. That's all built into the client. Isn't that just fantastic that you can do that? So,
yeah, 100%.
Same thing with Valorant. I believe there is custom servers, so you can just do whatever you need to do there. So, that's fantastic, because that's where PUBG went wrong. I think that's where Counter-Strike went wrong. To get that off the ground before it's even really out of beta, because I don't think it is, right? This is just early access that some people have.
Yeah, it's still closed beta.
So, look, watch this space. I think if you're an org, you're an idiot if you don't get involved in Valorant straight away, because just like Fortnite, you never know. You could have the next 16-year-old kid that wins $3 million.
But don't turf your CS squad. Like they have
do what you think is right.
Like they have in Asia.
Yeah. MVP going to Valorant before the game is even out, it's upsetting. I mean, it's not only upsetting on the fact that we've just lost a Counter-Strike team with years of knowledge, but also Asia will look at them and be like, let's do what they're doing, because they are role models.
They're not the only ones though. It's like,
I think was it Absolute in Japan?
Yeah,
Absolute. Yeah. Look,
they've gone. They were one of the first to jump ship.
Yeah, and look, I can't blame them, because you look at Overwatch and everything when that first came out. To be honest, you had to jump on this stuff.
I don't blame them because of how poor the Japanese CS scene is overall.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I don't blame them for that. They were the best out of that current crop of players.
Yep.
There was nothing happening for CS at all. Rainbow Six as a game was taking off in Japan. That was big.
CS still is big. They have a great team.
Yeah, but CS was sort of stale there, so it's sort of something new. And
look, you just can't blame anyone for jumping on the hype bandwagon. Obviously, all the VACT players that are people who have paid for cheats, they should go across to Valorant. And same with the iBuyPower guys, they're going to go across. And I don't have anything against those people. It's not like they're going to. They all know already they're going to an inferior esport, but they're just doing what's the best for their careers, and you can't blame people for doing that. And MVP, I can't blame them. Absolute, I can't blame them. The Japanese squad, do what you got to do for your careers. It's going to be a ton of money when Valorant probably does go live. There's going to be some sort of world tournament for sure. Like, Riot aren't stupid.
No,
I mean, completely stupid. There'll be something. So yeah, jump on it by all means. It's an esport. Rise the tide. Why not? But at the same time, I'm probably not going to play it because
I'm too
old,
too past it,
too old.
Past it.
Yeah, I'll support it. I don't think I'll cast it. I mean, I know no one's asking me. Mac, I know you'll cast it.
Yeah, first chance I get. I wanted to try to get a key just to try to jump in those 10-man lobbies and do something. But then I found out how absolutely dog shit the spectator client currently is.
Yep.
No X-ray, fucking all you have is the map to tell the differences, just POVs, and it's not in a good place. And I know it's very early days. It's not what they're focusing on. But if they want to try to take the opportunity and push the esports side, they just released ranked.
I don't get that. That's so dumb.
They need to have something,
I know, but honestly, the amount of times people have come to me and asked what makes esports, right? Like, what makes it good? And what can make a game accessible is the spectator functionality of the game. It really does hold anything back.
Is it free to play? It's going to be free to play, right? So it's not like...
Yeah, it'll be free to play. It'll be similar to League, right? You got to grind heaps, or you can pay to unlock the new heroes, champs, whatever they're called. And you can also buy skins, and that'll be the whole thing.
It is. That's just the way it is. That's the nature of the beast these days. But it's free to play, Jim, so they're not going to be worried about spectators. They're going to want people to jump in.
Is it like the battle pass sort of unlock levels quicker arrangement? That's
I don't know. There might be.
It's probably not sorted yet. I mean, I'd be crazy if there were microtransactions in it right now. Are there?
Yeah. I think there's a couple of skins, and you can either grind it out to unlock the new players, or you can pay for it.
All right. Well, anyway, long story short is they're going to be like, oh, don't watch it. Just jump in.
Yeah. But look, to be honest, I don't think they're going to struggle for player base based on the fact that they are...
They've got every dead esport, and they've got all the League of Legends.
They've got all... Yeah, exactly. They've got reach, right? Like, that's the one thing that Riot have is reach. And
they've hypnotized some Counter-Strike
Correct. They've
casters.
got reach. They've got history of making successful games.
Yeah.
And I think, even their latest venture into like TFT is successful. This is obviously based on the League of Legends universe, but still it's a different style of game for them. They've got a track record. They're going to deliver. I don't think there's going to be
I
any
actually
question.
think by coming out with what they've come out with so far has actually worked against them. Because they've come out so early and they've hit their stride, and everyone that first week on Twitch where everyone was just like Valorant, and then it's just gone like Valorant. This is annoying.
But it's only annoying that people
Are they doing an
forced-
Apex
people have-
Legends?
That guy's overpowered, or no one works together. It's nothing like every other game. And now
No, it's
like,
because people are forced to watch to get keys to play because everyone wants to play it, so everyone's forced to watch it.
Yeah.
And that's why I tried to get a key and then I was like, oh fuck it, whatever. Like I'll just wait till those servers.
But do you still find
apparently
it? Do you still find it fun to watch though, Mac? Because I've been watching people play it, and
say if I was watching, I've been watching Brax. Like I find Brax okay to watch because he has that Counter-Strike style.
Yeah.
And then anyone that's just having a good time playing it,
Having
pretty
a
fun.
good time.
But because I have that sort of like elitist CS mentality, if I'm watching someone that doesn't know how to play a strategic shooter properly and they're just like standing out in the open taking fights, I'll either laugh at them and be like, what the fuck are they doing? Or just start to get like annoyed and be like, why are you doing that? What the hell? Like, do this. And like, I don't have the game, so I can't figure out what's the best way to do it.
It makes it really frustrating to watch though, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to watch it until I can get my hands on it.
So have you watched any other style players? You said you watched Brax's Counter-Strike style. Have you seen any difference between them and the Overwatch guys or whatever or anything like that?
Oh, I couldn't say I watched too much of the Overwatch guys. I know that, who was it? Seagull? Seagull was one of the big Overwatch players who I followed for a while. And he was playing it with his friends and they had like a different idea of how they were going to do everything. And they were more discussing how the abilities and like when they needed to drop the abilities to try to work the timings and hold
Overwatch
sections.
It's an Overwatch
etc.
approach. Timing on ult is everything in that game.
It'd just be interesting because I think ultimately at the end of the day, Counter-Strike will come out on top with the aim once they learn to incorporate the abilities.
Well, they already have.
Yeah.
Well, I think the other thing is too, the format of the game really does favour Counter-Strike players. The way that you play like a spike situation, like all the meta around that, Counter-Strike players have been playing that for years.
Yeah.
So for the Overwatch guys, it's a new mechanic that they've got to try and get their head around.
Here's what I think will happen. So also, we totally forgot to talk about this whole rumor of Source 2 coming for Counter-Strike.
We didn't forget about it because we're going to talk about it now. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. No worries. So let's talk about... let's go from the Max mailbag to Source 2. So
We're shutting the mailbag. We're shutting the mailbag.
You've already done that when...
So
you wanted
Source
to talk about other things.
Source 2 is going to come out, and then what is going to happen is this Valorant is going to be a feeder game into Counter-Strike.
You reckon
The potential is there.
I feel like it'll be its own beast. Like it might find some players that like didn't get the opportunity in Counter-Strike, and then they'll show what they can do in Counter-Strike and maybe come back. But if it's more financially viable for them, like if
we're talking about pro gaming careers, sure, Valorant.
Yeah.
If you're going to go pro gaming, you're going to stick with Valorant. But what I'm talking about is that thirst you have for the kill and the reward. It's unbeatable in Counter-Strike. You just want to come play. Once you have like that FPS, if this is a gateway from Fortnite to Valorant, and then you're playing spike situations, and then your mates are like, oh, we're going to play some CS tonight, then you're like, oh, well, you know what? I might give it a shot. I've been putting it off all this time. It's free to play as well. You download Counter-Strike, you jump in. Next thing you know, you're just like, whoa, getting a kill in Counter-Strike feels so good. The reward for the skill. And then you're just going to be hooked on that, and then maybe we'll have more pro players one day. But like the opportunity is there for that to happen. They're not going to go from Valorant to Dota.
No, correct. I think once you've got them in that FPS genre where they're thinking about things like economy, they're thinking of things like
economy, bomb situations, clutches, and
apparently
then
the economy in Valorant right now is really shit. It needs to be like reworked. You can buy
there's a game like
gun.
That in CS right now. The economy is pretty average too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. But
you can just use your pistol, but Mac, from what
the thing who I can't remember who was telling me, it might have been Jordan, could have been someone else. I don't want to say names because I can't fucking remember. But whoever was telling me, you buy your abilities because you get your abilities, which essentially like your utility. But if you die, you don't drop your utility. You keep those abilities over into the next round and until you use them.
Right.
Which is dumb because if you die, you should lose any ability you had, right?
Yeah, because like that, it should be taken out of the economy.
Because you could just, eco your utilities. And just save them.
But then you wouldn't be able to build up your ultimate. You know what I mean? If you then lost it when you died. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel as though like it doesn't really, if that's the case, it doesn't really punish people for
no, it doesn't punish people enough.
And it doesn't take an ability out of the economy. Like it takes a weapon out of the economy.
All I'm saying
CS.
is it's only going to take a couple of people, a few rocket launcher deaths or a few around the corner, flashbang, X-ray, wall hack, blah, blah, blah deaths before
Flashes.
they're like, I could just play Counter-Strike and just rely on skill.
Yeah, I've been wall hacked again, but it's part of the game.
Yeah.
So I get it. All right. Continue.
Cool. Well, all right.
Let's get back to the mailbag.
Let's play. Open up
Play the
mailbag,
intro.
okay.
No.
You know what time it is.
Where are we? Okay, so from Jessic_Park66, favorite memory from IEM Sydney 2019. I'd have to say mine would be just casting it. What about you guys?
Getting released from the booth at Acer. The Acer Predator. I spent my entire
worked the
IM
whole
weekend in a box. That was it. It literally, I had Acer t-shirts piled up on one side, production gear on the other side, and chairs on the other side. That was my weekend. So yeah, getting released from that was good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really remember much of it, to be honest.
Bumping out.
I mean, just working with the guys again. It's always fun. Meeting Frankie.
Frankie was
the
cool.
Ollie thing. Dick Stacey on stage.
The caches.
Yeah, that was as much as I lament the caches. The fight before him was pretty cool.
Yeah, the WWE style approach to it. I like that. It's entertainment, right?
Yeah. But apart from that, it was felt bad. No Australis. So
it is what it is.
It is what it is, and everyone was in a slump as well. MIBR were crap.
Yeah, but at least they didn't have like a really crap optic.
Yeah,
taking center stage.
Aussies didn't make it through to the, that. So it's hard to find a lot of Counter-Strike based highlights.
To be honest, that NIP versus Fnatic game, we got out of the booth in time to watch the overtimes.
Yeah,
on that.
Is that when I said
map 2 overtimes?
Did they go to? Is that when they interviewed me in the crowd, and I said have faith and exist, and then they shit the bed? I think that's when that was.
I don't know, mate. You got the Midas touch. When it comes to these things.
Exactly. The commentator's curse kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, he's won at IEM Sydney before. This guy's have some respect for him. Killed it.
Yeah.
No. Babylon. All right. Well, there you go. And Jess also asked, how prepared is Ian for Star Wars trivia tomorrow?
Look, I totally forgot about it. I had no intention of playing it. And
come on, it's the 4th of May.
May the 4th be with you. Yes, I was. I passed it on to Jess to be like, oh, you'd be interested in this, with no intention of having anything to do with it. So I will be at work tomorrow. So how about that?
Well, there you go. So Jess thought that you said, hey, Jess, let's go and do this trivia together, and she got extremely excited.
So that was when we. What can you say? DMs were broken. There was lag. Some may not have gotten through.
Yep. Something went wrong in the grand scheme.
DMs were legitimately broken the other night. And I mean, look, I'm not one to hang out in the DMs.
I was going to say, how often?
We were having communication problems.
All right, beautiful. All right, well, that'll do that. Let's move on. We got Justin Lutz at I Am Cyber Waste asking 2 prolonged questions. First one is pretty much MJ's question. Where in the blue hell did you go? You got us worried. Well, glad to know you're worried.
Don't worry. We've been here.
Don't worry.
We've been biding our time, but we're here.
None of us had COVID.
No, we've been sheltered. We've been doing the right thing. We've been flattening the curve and also letting our hair grow out.
And then the second part of the question, not 2 questions, just the second part, of course. I know this will suck to talk about, but do you believe IEM Melbourne MEO will even take place in the current climate, and advice in regards to distancing, or is it too early to say? We already discussed that. I think it's going to still happen. I don't think it's going to be IEM Melbourne. I think it might be still too bad internationally to allow, and I think it's going to go ahead.
I think
But it'll be weird. It'll be a weird dynamic.
I think it'll be a domestic event. It won't be an international event. I think Australia's borders will probably be too difficult to get through at that point in time. Add to that to the current climate with travel. It may not be a big event either unless you can road trip it there. And people's financial situations may not allow it either, despite the fact that obviously there's a lot of support for people who are feeling it at the moment.
Also, logistically, you have to fly every international team here business class.
Yep. And then
you'd have to put them up in the best hotel with a 14-day quarantine.
Correct.
And then after that, then they get to go to a crowd-infested place, which who knows the laws will be on that. And then, they got to fly home, 14-day quarantine for them again. So, logistically, I don't see it. Yeah,
there's a lot to consider from... it might not even be their call. Honestly, there's two sets... There's two major sets of calls that are going to be made, and that is from the government, which is the state government and the federal government, which is out of the event organisers' hands, and then obviously the event organisers got to make their own call on whether or not it's financially viable.
And then lastly,
to do that,
the players, because there's no reason why they couldn't all just do an Australia and be like, look, guys, not this time.
Yeah, we're not even playing Blast.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's move away from that as well because we already spent a fair bit of time on it. And at Fished. Do you see a place for more casual esports commentary with possibly off-topic conversations in dull moments? Fish, I don't know if you've been listening to any esports broadcasts, but that's been happening for fucking decades, brother.
That was my bread and butter.
I could never get someone to do it with me.
Oh, I've been available but never available.
I'd be like, look, while they're on an eco, would you want to talk about this? And then the other person would just be like, no. Oh, okay, cool. No worries.
You mean you've been stonewalled?
Yeah, I've been stonewalled a couple of times.
Me too.
Jordan was good though. Just he doesn't get any jokes. And he doesn't get any pop culture references. Yeah, he's just he'll stonewall the shit out of me on that. I have to tell him to go watch Top Gun or something like that.
You're not allowed to have fun.
No. Yeah, that's true. But anyway,
is this the time where we?
So is the question?
We do that.
Is the question? Do we see that as acceptable? Do we see it as now? Yeah,
do you see a place? Do you see a place for it? There's always been a place for it, and the only people, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know if people are paying attention to it, but it's like if you do it, you will see Twitch chat yell at you and say, "Talk about the gamecasters." But then if you stay too on topic of the game, like if you go back and watch it, it could just be boring as fuck. It's just like the same broadcast over and over.
Well, it's a skill, right? It's a skill to get it right.
Yeah.
And Henry G and Sado were just the best at it because Sado's mind would just wander aimlessly throughout matches.
But here's the thing.
But he didn't get stonewalled. And so they would be like, blah, blah, blah. And then Henry would just go back into the game when it was appropriate.
Also, too, if you listen to a lot of Sado's play-by-play, a lot of it was wordplay based on lyrics of songs or books or references or things like that. That's what made him technically really easy to work with from an off-topic conversation because he could bring it back on topic through a point of reference.
Yeah.
So he'd be you'd be talking about a book or something like that, or talking about like whatever, like something that's happening in the crowd or whatnot. You'd find a way of segueing it back in through wordplay, through whatnot. It is a really nuanced skill to be able to find that balance. I think there is a place for it.
Yes, there's definitely a place for it.
Casual?
Counter-Strike?
For casual? I think it depends on the competition.
Casual? You mean like casual conversation? Like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? No. It's not like that.
Do you want to do the old viewers' choice streams?
Not particularly.
do you remember those? Okay, so to context that for people was we would, if you were doing a viewer's choice stream, in Room on Fire, did this a couple times for, I think it was actually some of the dream hacks and things like that. They would do what they call a viewer's choice stream. What Richard Lewis does for the majors, right?
Mm.
It's the No Majors Club. But they go, okay, we're going to have
this game or that game.
This game or that game. These guys, to be fair, they did the right thing, Room on Fire, and they didn't rebroadcast the main
assets.
broadcast content. All they did was they were an accompaniment stream to the broadcast, and they were what they call a viewer choice. It was like an alternate commentary.
Yep.
Essentially, you'd have both streams open.
Well, I've always talked about doing like
and you'd watch the
a raw in
broadcast.
HD version of a proper game. You know what I mean? Like the game.
You needed, to get what they were talking about.
So people who are less than 20 years old, the 2000 Olympics, Roy and HD, these two Aussie comedians, took the piss out of the Olympics, but it was fun to watch. It made watching the Olympics fun. Instead of being like, that's a great twist and drop and whatever, and we have like an ex-gymnast telling us this shit we don't understand. It was Roy and HD going, this is a twizzled top and a, like...
It's a 1-2 step into a Tootsie Roll.
Yeah, the Tootsie Roll, yeah.
Battered Sav.
Yeah.
Hello, boys.
It's, the meat grinder there, it's, doctors are having trouble fixing it, But so that made it fun. I'd love to do that with Counter-Strike where you're not doing play-by-play, he goes in, gets one, gets two. It's like, no, it's none of that. But it's just like, that's...
You just take the piss the whole time.
Not take the piss, but like, that was good what they just did there. Like, you're watching it. So everyone's watching it. We don't need to know what we're watching.
Beyond the summit commentary.
I mean, not that even is too far for me. I'm talking like just sitting back, shooting the shit, watching it with someone else, like Gogglebox. But your commentary is there, and then you might talk about whatever else happens in between.
So yeah, the viewer's choice that Room on Fire did was pretty much like Gogglebox. It was them watching this. You were watching them watching the stream.
Yeah,
essentially, and they offered it as a complimentary stream to watching the main broadcast. You could watch this, like you could listen to the audio from their stream, have them up at the same time, see what was going on in the game. Because let's be real, most Counter-Strike fans at this stage,
we're watching it,
but also they're nuanced enough to know what's going on.
We don't need someone to tell us exactly every step that's going on.
Correct. So they might want to talk to, I think they had some players like Get Right on there. They had obviously your Thorins,
that'd always be the dream.
And then you had on the panel, they rotated through who was watching in different games. You had insight. From different perspectives.
Yeah, well, you'd be like, why are they doing this? And then the pro player will be like, oh, well, they've always been known to do this. Like, we've seen them do it. We do this to beat that.
Or we've seen them do this in practice. It's funny because they never really used to do this sort of stuff. And blah, blah, blah. And it's a different...
These guys are not playing like they do in practice. That makes them really annoying, whatever. So you can do stuff like that. And the analysis from those games, it's basically just... Instead of having an analyst desk at the end of the match, it's like the analyst desk is mid-match and there's no one else interrupting. And if you're not good enough to do analysis, like some of the play-by-play casters might not feel comfortable making those calls, well, then they can just ask.
Do you want to mess around?
It becomes one of those. Look, I'm tempted to, Jim, but like at the end of the day, it comes down to...
mess around and do a few ESC
You got to have time, and then on top of that, you got to have permission.
True. We should do it with ESCA if we ever get time.
Oh, if anyone wants us to do it, sure.
It's like TriCast are a perfect example of that. Like they've been doing TriCast for the Road to Rio stuff, and
TriCast
it's hard to do a fully structured professional TriCast. Like it's not really going to work unless you keep it a little bit casual. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we need to change.
I think it works because
what is a professional commentary? Like I don't, because it's like. First of all, limit is definitely at least... sorry, not limit, but like you got to have at least two people. I don't think solo casting works at all. Unless it is solo and the chat. Because then it's like, chat, what do you think about this? Chat, what do you think about that? Like if you've got good
level
chat,
of engagement.
sure, level of engagement. But you got to have at least two people to bounce off. I really don't see why we still need this like... The type of play-by-play that we have.
The rigidity.
I don't know why we have it. It's like the horse racing, picking up the most easy details and relaying it to the viewer. It really needs to be more about what's happening behind the scenes on the play-by-play. Instead of, that's a great headshot, which by all means, if someone gets a great headshot, sure. But if it's just an entry into the site, it's an entry into the site, not a headshot. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what should be in play-by-play. But instead, I just continually see, like, oh, look, they're having a great round. It's like, yeah, you do that for 30 rounds, you've earned your pay. Well done.
But at the same time, a lot of the audience doesn't care or understand, like, what each kill means or, like, the deeper parts, the deeper meaning of, like, every entry, what that flash did. And if you tell them that and they don't really care, they just want to be there to be entertained, then, you have your play-by-plays that just go, what? and just react
Thank
to
God for the
everything.
noise gate. Yeah, but it's your job to do that right. So if you're not able to make the facts interesting, then you're not a good caster. That's my opinion. But you can always hype things up if it's worth hyping up. It's like what we say, Mac, where if everything is great, then nothing is great. So you have to reserve those moments for when something is amazing. But
it's all about the balance.
It's all about the balance, and you can't just go and then not say why it was amazing, because then someone's just getting yelled at who might not have been paying attention to start with. That's just my opinion.
No, look, I agree with a lot of the points that you made. I think that there's room in the current broadcasting environment for people to try different things.
Yeah.
To try different things, see how they go, but also that means that there's no reason for people to get stuck in the tried and tested routes that people are starting to find less and less interesting. As there's more competitions with more frequent Counter-Strike, we're seeing the same teams play each other in multiple competitions on maybe the same week. They're playing each other. So try different things. Try and make things a little bit more exciting than run the same sort of style of commentary. This is the time to try stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
There's never been a better time than now.
The thing is, right there, like I've watched very little Counter-Strike in domestic Counter-Strike, and then I jumped into the ANZ Grand Final, and I've picked up some things there, and I was just like, okay, look. For example, MC put together these videos with where I talk over them, and it's their like set plays, and I'm breaking down a set play. And lo and behold, the grand final ends up being Avant versus Order, and we see that exact set play go down. And I'm just thinking, look, I've seen that set play once before, and it was in that highlight video, and now they're doing the same thing again. What would be really good is if the commentators pointed that out and said, "Oh, here's the set play." But and particularly straight after I finished playing, because I knew everything about Counter-Strike at the time. I knew every strat that was possible. I knew what every team was doing before they even did it. And so I incorporated that into my commentary. And I would say, they've got this spawn, usually they do this. Or they're losing to this, but they know that now, so they're probably going to do this. And I was right. What I want to see more from our commentators in Australia, the same ones that are doing every single match, I want to see some more knowledge and acknowledgement of, I've seen this before, they do this, and tell me what's happening before it happens, so that I can be prepared for it as a viewer and take it in a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I always used to talk with PK when we did commentary what their options were in certain situations.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily stuff at the start of the round based on spawn, but it was more mid-round.
It doesn't have to be in spawn.
It was more mid-round conjecture on these are their possibilities right now.
Yes.
Clock is ticking.
Because you've watched every single game they've had that season.
Yeah.
You know what they've done in the past, or you should be applying that mindset of, I've watched every single one of their games. Surely I'm seeing the same thing.
If we see something new, that's something to talk about.
Yeah.
If they've been sandbagging all season and now come the finals, they pull out a strategy you've never seen before.
So I don't think Counter-Strike commentary is where it should be domestically. I don't think it is like, it's not improving. I think it's just staying the same. People are getting more comfortable talking for an hour, but it's not growing. It's not developing. And I think that's why we're not going to be, no one's going to come and get you if you're just doing the bare minimum.
Do you think, I know ESL are running a talkback competition to try and find
30 applications
across, do you know how many games they ran? I think, I know that there was definitely StarCraft, all the ANZ titles. I think there was maybe 3, possibly 4 games.
I have no idea.
I think it was the 3 titles that ANZ were running this season.
So Warcraft 3, Counter-Strike, and StarCraft.
Yeah.
Might have only been. I didn't even hear about StarCraft.
They're running. They're running ANZ and like those $100 weekly competitions with StarCraft. So I thought they were going to be.
Oh, they might have got a clip from that. Then.
I'm pretty sure they did do some StarCraft as well. So 3 games, 30 commentators across 3 games. I'd imagine most of them are going to probably fit in the Counter-Strike category, just based on player base.
Just based on the people that follow ESL Australia.
True. Well, I think
that's the audience mostly.
Or gamblers from overseas.
Do you think that anyone in that field is going to shake things up, or like just based on what you've seen? You said everybody's doing the same thing, so is that maybe?
I don't know. Do they live in Sydney? That's the real question.
Is there a chance though?
Yeah, was that a thing on the application, Mac? Do you know?
No, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it sounded like they were getting flown over to do a cast with Jordan.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that'd be for finals or just for a general random week, but like, can we even have flights? Like, do they have to be just in Australia? Because I think there's some New Zealand casters. Like a flight's still running domestically, like from Melbourne to Sydney and shit.
Yeah,
okay. Because I don't even know anything about that.
Is there a chance with that competition to masterclass it a little bit and go, well, here's all the applicants. Let's do Australia's next top caster and workshop it a little bit and take, maybe course correct some of them. And I know you're grimacing a little bit here, Ian, because
do not do me like this, Jim.
Australia's next top caster
Yeah.
might be amongst this crop, but we're going to make them do some challenges first. Might make them jump off high platforms while casting around. We might make them...
No, you're going on... So you've taken this tangent to the next level and then all the way to the top of the skyscraper.
Yeah, back, please,
to drop some casters off skyscrapers, and I don't like it.
Make it stop.
I don't like it.
We could really throw curveballs.
Anyway, that's
Make them
the
cast
end.
World of Warcraft.
That's the end of the mailbag. There you go. I've stopped it. Ian, are you happy?
Yes.
Oh, man.
All right, mailbag shut.
Just run me off the road.
There
run me off the road like that. Yeah, look, I'd love to see casters be thrown through different challenges. It's like, all right, give me some colour commentary on this round. Give me play-by-play on this round.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Give me a good
good
turn
luck.
of phrase.
The only
Give me an
people in
organic sponsor
Australia,
plug.
the only people in Australia that have any chance of doing colour commentary are like ex-top players. I listened to Gyro the other day. He came in. He just started casting one of the MDL games. It was probably like a month ago now. I think he jumped in. It was either that or some other qualifier games that were playing. And just, he wasn't properly casting, but he was just sort of discussing what he was seeing, kind of like what you wanted to see, Ian.
Yeah.
And straight up just hearing, like he'd see something, be like, oh yeah, they're probably going to do this, and then see it happen, or just say, why the fuck was he there? Like, that must have been like a comm issue or something. Yeah. And just like noticing things like that. But he wasn't just he tried to do the play-by-play, but it was he's got a kill there, a kill here, a kill there. Yeah. It's like, well, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to see what who's one of the better IGLs in the country, and what you have to say about these other teams fucking going head to head.
Oh, he's also got to be careful because he's an active player. So the problem with that is he can give away information and basically teach his enemy like the way he thinks. So
yeah, but to be fair, I think there was also casters who used to do that to other new and up and coming casters. Like, why would I teach them how to cast?
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to take my job.
Well, it's happened. It's happened. Like, yeah,
true.
Can't blame them. Cannot blame them at all.
True, but look, to be honest, I think I'd love to see some spanners thrown into the mix.
I would like to see, my vision of commentary be employed here or there somewhere. But like I said, biggest problem is time.
Yeah.
Someone's got to have the time to do it.
But do you think...
secondly, permission. You got to get permission somehow to be allowed to do
this. Do you think
this.
a competition like that is a good opportunity to course correct for some aspiring casters?
Yeah, for sure.
If they've got the capacity to do so.
You're talking about the content, the greatest gab, gift of the gab kind of thing they're doing.
Gift of the gab, but like obviously the talkback competition at ESL are running. Whether or not they've got time to facilitate.
Yeah, lessons. Like if they come in and they're like, I want to commentate this game, and then you're like, well, try this game. And then you find out they're better at that game, then yeah, sure, whatever.
Or it's like you're trying to say too much. Yeah. Giving them handy hits and...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Rather than just going, well, okay, give me your best clip. I always found the danger...
people take constructive criticism.
Yeah, I think it's always difficult. I've always found it difficult to judge people based on them submitting a clip rather than them doing live commentary. So
yeah, if I get a clip, I'm just like, well, you had one good second of commentary once and you put it in a clip.
Not only that, but like if you just give them the play, they've got, in theory, weeks to rehearse what they're going to say for that 30-second clip.
Yeah, unless it's a live broadcast.
Correct.
But it's not in this aspect though. It's like here's this clip, cast over the top of it, and I think there were some people like, oh, do you have the demo? Like, if you can we get the demo, please? And they're like, oh, no, just cast over the clip because apparently the clip had the casters on it, and they're like, just mute it and cast over it and send it back. but then people were going to the lengths of like re-recording it over a demo so they could have like the sounds and stuff. Like,
Yeah, look, I'm
So-
sure there's always going to be people that ask to change the rules.
yeah,
But,
I think Jess wants me. She's just opened the door behind me. Yeah.
Well, I think that might be a good place to leave it after our inglorious return. But I think we want to play with the format of some of these podcasts moving into...
Our own podcast. We're going
Our
to
own
change the
podcast.
format of our own podcast. Okay.
Yeah, we could maybe course correct ourselves.
I don't know, man. The public won't like that. They don't like change. It's a tough time for change at the moment.
It is true. It is true. But it has been an absolute pleasure, gentlemen, to have Ian on the couch, Mac via correspondence, dialing in from his self-isolation chamber about 3 suburbs over. It's kind of cool. Yeah, look, we did this in my defense last week. I only got 1 stab at it. You guys had already run 3 times.
No one saw that. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the preview clip came out and made me look like I had absolutely zero coordination when trying to high-five Mac on the screen. You'd already had 4 runs at it to get it right, but that was not shown.
Hearsay, Your Honour.
No.
Mac, have you heard of this shit before?
I don't know what he's talking about.
No, the first time.
Anyway, there's a lot happening in the esports space right now. There's still a lot more to happen. We're going to watch it unfold over the next couple of weeks. We'll be here on the Esports Social Club, not another podcast, to bring it all to you. Gentlemen, any final thoughts before we go?
Nah, stay safe, stay home.
Stay safe.
Postpone events if fucking teams can't play because everything's online, and it's really not that hard right now.
It is really not that hard. There we go. I think that is a good place to leave it. We are the Esports Social Club, and we will catch you next time.